Okay, today I thought I would do a quick video on the topic of how to handle situations with difficult to elevate applications. So these are applications that don't present the usual admin by request, consent or MFA prompt. They are going to give you a kind of a native Windows UAC prompt. So why is this? Well, the app might have just been built badly. Maybe initially it was built only to be ever run in the context of an administrator. So if you're logging in as a non-administrator and trying to run it, it just forces you to have that native UAC pop up. Or maybe the app is triggered by a process as a non-administrator process or a protected process. A good example of that is one we're going to talk about today, which is something that is triggered by a browser, which is very protected type of application process starting. So how would you address this without admin by request? Well, you can give a user a full admin account, Lapse, Microsoft Lapse. So imagine the user is on their system, they're trying to do something, the UAC prompt occurs, and you would give them a full Lapse account. So a lot of bad things about doing that. So you're giving someone a permanent admin account for their system. They can do whatever they like with that admin account. Of course, you would hope they just did the thing that they asked you that they were going to do. But, they can actually create new accounts, local accounts in their systems. They can run PowerShell commands. They can run malicious files, and they can cause all sorts of havoc. And if this particular process was happening in a financial institution, then, you're talking, ransomware. It could be a not a good situation. So I really would not recommend the workaround of a Lapse account for this particular problem. Okay, so you can get your user to ask the help desk team to assist. So they put a ticket on. The help desk team would need to come in and remote session, use their own credentials, which in itself not ideal because you don't have admin by request to help. So in this case, if the file that needs to be run is malicious, then the only change is that the help desk staff have got the full privileges, so they're going to execute the ransomware instead of the end user. So this isn't exactly an ideal solution either. It's also a very time and work intensive for the user to request a remote session. The person on the other end, help desk, have time to give it, and that time, of course, has to match with the user, so they have to coordinate, and not an ideal situation. So if you had admin by request, what are your options? Well, for difficult to elevate situations, you could create what we call a tray tool that would pre-approve the application, and that handles application launches slightly differently. So you've got a good chance with a pre-approval rule that your trouble application will work. But the only snag with that is that users would need to know the tray tool was there, and you'd obviously have to make a tray tool for every application that you wanted to enable that user to launch. So I can understand there's some situations that is not the ideal, but it's a lot more preferable than giving someone the keys to the car in a full Lapse admin account. The other option is to do pre-approval, perhaps make the context of that pre-approval wider, so maybe make it a certificate-based approval, so on the vendor, but then give people an admin session in which to do the elevation. So in general, I would say that most people might consider an admin session too much admin. However, there are many things you can do with an admin session to really restrict what the user can elevate in it. And actually, you can set up an admin session in such a way that nothing elevates apart from those pre-approvals. And this is the kind of solution that I'm going to show you today. So let's have a look at how you might configure a problem application in a problem situation with a pre-approval rule, but with a restricted admin session. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at the moment. On the left-hand side, here is the configuration that I'm going to propose. So let's just set up the scene here. The scene here is that I've got a user. Let's say this user works for an accountancy company and they need to access a bank. This one, a particular one, is a Korean bank. And you'll see in a minute when we need to log in to this bank on the orange button, it's going to start or attempt to start a kind of keyboard protection system that is going to trigger one of those UAC prompts. So what we're going to do and what we don't want to do is we don't want to have to use a tray tool for this, because we want to try and make this as intuitive as possible. I guess we are going to have to educate the user to learn how to start an admin session, but really that should be it. Everything else should be intuitive. Anyway, so the configuration. We're going to completely deny run as admin, okay? So that means that if I, on the system itself, if I try to run anything as admin, I should in this configuration, it should block me. So if I try and run Notepad++, it's going to block me. If I try and elevate, run as admin, a command prompt as admin, anything I try and run as admin, anything at all, is going to block me, okay? And then I'm going to allow an admin session. I've not put approval on here, but you could put approval on here if you wanted to, but I've not done that. I'm just going to require a reason. The amount of time in the session is totally configurable, so that's really not of much consequence. So that is the authorization section. And then in the app controls section, this is where we put our configuration. So I know the vendor of this application that needs to be authenticated by Appin by Request is made by this company. So I just have to put a pre-approval rule in for that one company, okay? And in blocking, this is the interesting part. So in blocking rules, I basically put some rules in that say no XEs are allowed and no MSIs are allowed. So you can see in this configuration, nothing can be elevated, even under a session, apart from this single vendor. Okay, so this is the thing. So it's a bit of a misnomer that giving someone an admin session it's giving them too much admin. It's not. In this admin session, the only thing the user can elevate in that session is made by this company. Okay, so let's have a look at how this is going to work. So we're on the banking website. I'm just going to hit the refresh button, just going to refresh the page. Wait for that to come back. And I'm just going to adjust something else as well. Okay, good. And it's the orange button I need to click. So I'm going to click that now, and that will take me to their kind of login screen. So it's checking for the keyboard logging system. Okay, it hasn't done what I wanted it to do, so that's kind of a bit annoying. Oh no, here it goes. Here's the offending UAC prompt. So it was a bit slow. So here's the UAC prompt, and you can see that I wouldn't be able to elevate this thing normally with Appin by Request because I've denied all run as admins. But if I were to start an admin session, and this can be done after the event, so I put in here need to whatever run keyboard tool for banking app. Hit OK. And now we have configured admin bar request to do an MFA. So this is another level of security. Remember, the alternative was simply just giving someone a lapse account. Okay, so that is not something that is, I would say, is particularly secure. So we're going to require people to pass MFA and show them a code of conduct before they can do anything. Okay, so I think this is a far more secure solution. So we've now got our session running. So I'm going to log in, authenticate here with my own user details that I used to log in to this computer. I mean, if I had the Windows Hello working, I could also use the PIN code. I don't have a PIN code set up for this user, but anyway, let me type in the user's details. So that would be this one. And the password. Again, if I had hello set up, I could basically use that. Okay, so not very exciting, but that driver has now been installed. That's what that prompt is all about. And the user can log in and everyone is happy. So, and all I needed to do was to start a session, which can continue running. And I may even have had it running already because I may have just started it when I got into work. I mean, you could easily educate a user to say, when you do some accounting work, you would start your session, and if you're on the banking websites, you just have to enter your details. When the thing pops up, it's all fine. You don't need to do a tray tool, you don't need to do anything clever, you just re-authenticate as you, and all is good. And the other nice thing about it is that there'd be a full audit log of all these things that you've done whilst your session was running. So I think actually that this approach is far better than using a lapse account, which is, in my view, very dangerous and insecure. And I even think it's better than using a tray tool, because it doesn't require the user to go through a huge list of tools, because there could be a massive list of applications that the user might need to run, and they may make a mistake and run the wrong one. So this method of a secured admin session with those pre-approval rules put in over here, I think is a much better and secure solution than either of those options that I mentioned before. And you can see that if I go into the admin session here, that here is the admin session I've just been running. Okay, and you can see that this is the application that was run as admin, that keyboard logger. So all of that stuff is logged, and that is essential for compliance. So I think that's really all. A nice short and sweet video. If you found this helpful, obviously subscribe and like, as they say on YouTube, and we'll hopefully see you again soon. But that's all for now. Cheerio. Bye.